Welcome to The Laboratory, a video series brought to you by Miracles Innovation Labs.
Hey everyone, this is Udaya Nandipati, a lead researcher of Cognitive from Miracle Software Systems. This video is all about exploring Watson conversation through Miracle's Cognitive Dashboard. We'll be covering about Watson Developer Cloud and how Watson analyzes the data that's coming in and what are the conversation bots and how these are going to benefit us and some use cases around them and the architecture showcasing how Watson conversation is connected to the application, and we'll showcase a quick demo how it's going to work. IBM made its debut in artificial intelligence several years ago with Watson, an artificial intelligence computer system that can answer questions posed in the natural language. Watson now includes a collection of web APIs that enable web developers to leverage cognitive capabilities in the web applications through natural language and machine learning. These REST APIs are publicly available through IBM's Bluemix Cloud Service platform dubbed in the Watson Developer Cloud. So now developers can utilize these APIs without needing to understand anything about machine learning. IBM has taken a pleasing step by making Watson APIs freely available to developers, enabling them to make their applications cognitive and smarter. Hopefully, over time, more machine learning and natural language processing services like these will become freely available for developers. If this could be an open source tool, that would be an icing on the cake. There are 13 services that are currently available on the Developer Cloud, that is speech-to-text, text-to-speech, natural language, classifier, and Watson Conversation Service. Now, so how does Watson analyze and train? First, we'll train with the data, and it can be done by using these services that are available in Watson Developer Cloud. First, it analyzes questions, it generates hypotheses, next is evidence scoring, and finally merging and ranking. Then it gives the likeliness of answers by scoring from 0 to 1. Setting everyone on what is a bot and what is a chatbot. So bots are a way to automate tasks, these taking something that's repetitive and make it so that I don't have to do it anymore. Coming to chatbots, use conversational aspects to communicate with user. So we are going to be using natural language processing. Some people just say a database and you can go through it and compare the answers. So chatbots are a kind of bots in which they take the repetitive actions of having to talk to somebody and make it automated, but they are not quite a bot, and that they are not necessarily based on solely on the programming. The emphasis is more on the language. Today I'm going to talk about Watson Conversation Service. This was the result of combining our natural language classifier and a dialogue. A lot of people wanted to build bots. To do this, go to bluemix.net. Whether you look at Amazon Alexa or whether you look at Microsoft Bots, which is a .NET framework, they all kind of have the same basic syntax for you to building your conversations. Coming to the benefits of conversation service, it is a very simple experience and for business users and conjunction with the developers to be able to pick up the service and associated with building conversational applications. The idea is that to really start to add a natural language interface into your applications. Then what makes Watson Conversation Service different? Developers are required because front-end integration into different channels that going to be required is typically a back-end integration. And Watson Conversation Service is able to allow these business users and developers to co-create these applications. So if there is a very specific dialogue that business users wants to modify and create those type of things, they can go to the tooling and do this type of things. Or if they want to start to train the system that there is no sort of machine learning required. Now, start a conversation with someone else and see how they ask the questions. Don't ask the speaker to repeat themselves too often. Coming to the use case of Watson Conversation Service, it reduces the cost of a contact centers. I mean, you no need to repeat the questions repeatedly. You no need to answer the questions repeatedly. So here comes a picture where chatbots can interact and can give the answers which are asked repeatedly. And you can also use these chatbots to your website where your users are struggling for urgent or a specific answers that they are looking for. And coming to the food delivery, you can order your food by using a chatbot, and you can also pay your bills there itself. You can also use it as you can also use it as an interface for the home appliances. The bots can be enabled using the Watson Conversation Service, and the basic emphasis is that it uses a dialogue model and a natural language processing to go to the tree and actually respond back to the users based on the context. When you configure a conversation service, you have to configure it in terms of a dialogue model, and along with that, you user intents and entities, and basically an intent means what you want Watson to do, and entity is what you want Watson to do that to trigger your action on top of. Now in our application, it might not be straightforward, but some the time it is. In this particular case, we have a user saying turn off the light as a command. Here we are using a natural language and saying, can you turn off the light? Or they could say, Watson, could you turn off the light? Please turn off the light. And Watson is able to understand the intent called turn off, whether it's coming like turn off, could you turn off, or turn off the light, and any particular different way that you say. Watson will be able to map back to the turn off intent, then check the entity which is a light, and will define that, okay, maybe user wants to turn off the light. And all this is defined as a tree within the Bluemix, which you actually train Watson, and will showcase how Watson conversation works in a minute. Here is a quick example of dialogue model with Watson conversation. So Watson goes ahead and gives a welcome message. Hi, my name is Watson. I control the lights at your home. And you can go ahead and ask, can you turn on the music? But unfortunately, Watson conversation bot is not configured to do that. So it says that, I'm sorry, I'm only capable of controlling your lights. So once it does that, the person can say, turn on the lights, please. And this is where the real power of Watson conversation comes in. There are so many options here where conversation can understand and actually says that, I understand that you want to turn on the lights. What lights would you like me to turn on? And the user says main hall. Here you are not going to say turn on the lights in the main hall. You're just saying main hall. Watson doesn't actually maintain context of the dialog tree. So here comes in the picture where your application has to maintain in terms of a dialog counter. So that counter is going to enable Watson to know where was logged off. So this is particular case we say main hall. Watson knows that the previous context was that the user asked us to turn on the lights, and this was able to go and understand the main hall and turn on the lights in the main hall, and will turn on the lights in the main hall. We have Node application, and there is one more critical aspect to do this application is the internet. Now you must wondering why it is so important for the Node.js to be able to communicate with the internet. Well, it's because Watson is on the internet as a REST APIs, which is again one of the Watson greatest advantages. You don't need devices that has a tons of computing power to be able to use it. You can use it from any computer, any device, as long as you have internet. When the user interacts with the device, he might enter his question that or a message that he's having, and it will interact with the Node.js application which is running in our Bluemix environment. And this Node.js application will pass this to the Watson conversation bot, where it checks the question with the related intent, and will reply back with the answer again to the Node.js application, and this Node.js application will forward it to the device where user is interacting with. And this all will be communicated in the JSON format. Now just look, we'll have a quick demo what we developed for the Merkle's Watson dashboard, where I'll be showing you the Watson conversation service dialogues. To get started with conversation, we'll need a Bluemix account. If we don't have one already, we can sign up and get a 30-day free trial. Once we have signed in, we'll navigate to the catalog, scroll down to the Watson conversation service, and there we can create the we can have the conversation style, and we can click on that. Then we'll get a navigation page where you can create your conversation service. This will bring up a window with some links and the information. Click on a launch tool button to get started. At this point, it's time to create a workspace. One workspace corresponds to one bot. It contains all the configuration information that gives you bot its unique personality. Here you can see the intent, entities, and dialogues. Intents are the questions or examples that user might ask and will train before itself. And entities where user will grab the entities from the intents where user might say in the different ways. And the dialogues where we create the what Watson has to reply back. And here dialogue is nothing but it provides responses to users based on the identified intents and examples. Dialogue is made up of nodes which are steps in conversation. Nodes are changed together in a tree structure to create an interactive conversation with the end user. Now we have an anything else node here. This node is used to provide default responses. This node is used when none of the nodes that you create are selected for use. And order of the dialogue branches is important. Now I'll just go here. This is the Watson dashboard that we created for the World of Watson conference. And if you click on the try it out button, and talk to Watson. Watson is replying me back like, "Hi, I'm Watson. Welcome to World of Watson." Then user might say, "Hello, Watson." Watson replied me back, "Hello, I'm doing good. I'm here to help you about to know more about Bloomix, Watson, and about Miracle Company." Okay, tell me about Miracle. Miracle Software is a global system integrator with over 20 years of experience with the 2,000 employees. Okay, and we can also see here we are having a hyperlink where if you click on it, it will be navigating to the home page of your Merkle's company page, Merkle homepage. Now we can add hyperlink buttons in this Watson conversation service. Now, tell me about few Watson services. The Watson services in Bluemix are numerous, and those are language, speech, and analytics. Okay, tell me about language. Services under language category are language translator, natural language classifier, speech to text, and to speech. I want to know about language translator. Watson language translator translates text from one language to another language. So this is how Watson will reply back with the dialogue that are triggered with the respective questions that user is asking. So finally, thank you, Watson. Watson replied me back, "Sure, let me know if you have any more questions." So this is how we'll develop a Watson conversation service with the respective interfaces that we are using, and this can be integrated with any channels like a Facebook, Twitter, or Slack. So what are you waiting for? Quickly create a chatbot that can interact with any messaging platform with IBM Bluemix, which is having a different Watson services. Thank you.
Thank you for watching The Laboratory, a video series brought to you by Miracles Innovation Labs. For more on innovation, please visit miraclesoft.com/thelabs.